bruv, you are having a bubble.
Yo, what's going on guys? Welcome back to Flashback FIFA. This is a series where we go back and look at previous teams on other FIFAs and look at their ratings and whatnot. And if you missed the last one, you can check out in the description down below. I did the Barcelona treble winning team from a few years back, so if you want to go and check that out, make sure you do. But before we get started into this video, if you're looking to buy some very cheap and instant ultimate team coins, make sure you check out fifacoinstock.com. the link will be down in the description below. £6 per 100k, so make sure you go and check them out. But anyway, let's actually move on to this video now, and the most suggested team for me to cover in this video was the Arsenal Invincibles. Now, if you want me to cover a certain team in the future, make sure you let me know in the comment section down below. But let's get started on this Arsenal team now. We've got a few players on the bench here. Jose Antonio Reyes to start it off. I believe this is the season he actually joined the club. He didn't really play too many games and was very low rated. Obviously, I can't go back and look at the stats all the way from 2003 and 4, but I went to the FIFA 07 stats, checked his rating. He was a low rated gold, so I'm guessing back then he would have been like a low rated 73, just because he was young. He didn't really play too much for Arsenal that season, and yeah, he would have probably been a silver card or maybe even a bronze. So yeah, that is Reyes there. He was mostly a bench player, of course, because that's the season he joined. Same as this guy here, he was mostly a bench player. Jeremy Aliadier, currently still playing, and he's a gold card actually in this FIFA, non-rare gold, and is actually doing pretty decent for himself. Obviously he got a team of the season last year, which isn't bad. We'll move on to Quincy Owusu-Bay, who, believe it or not, was actually in this Arsenal squad. Didn't really play too much. He was a youth player. Now obviously he's a silver 5-star skiller for Panathinaikos. There's quite a few Arsenal players that would have been in this team, but I can't get them into the team because they're not in FIFA, of course. So yeah, the next player would have been Gael Clichy. Didn't really do too much again for this team. I mean, he was young then and probably would have been a silver card. The same as this guy Cesc Fabregas, who recently joined them. Didn't play a game that season, I believe, but yeah, he would have been a low rated silver or even a decent bronze card. So yeah, that is Cesc Fabregas. But we'll move on to the actual team now, and in goal we would have went with Jens Lehmann, who obviously, you know, he's a legend card in this FIFA. So I've kept the rating exactly the same as legend card because that is what EA believe his stats were in his prime, so I've just kept them exactly the same. This Arsenal team went unbeaten for a whole season in the Premier League, which was just phenomenal, and to be honest, it's a shame their team isn't up to standard as what it was back then, but they're doing good this season. Hopefully they can win something. I mean, it's been 8 years, which is just mental. So we'll move on to the right back now, who is Laurent, and he was a right back in this team. Obviously played there for most of the season, well, in that position for Arsenal most of the season, so he's in this team. 83 pace I would have given him. I mean, I checked his stats in FIFA 07, they were pretty similar to this, except he was lower rated because he was getting old and whatnot, but these are the stats I would have given him back then in FIFA 04. I wish I could check the stats from them, but I just don't have the game, unfortunately. So Sol Campbell, again, he has a legend card in this FIFA, so his stats back then would probably be similar to that of his legend card. But this was a bit of a controversial one just because he left Tottenham to go straight to Arsenal. Now that is a big move. I mean, Arsenal and Tottenham are huge rivals, and he's hated now by Tottenham fans, of course, for leaving them to go to Arsenal, but you know, that's how football is sometimes. I mean, there's players always leaving teams to go ahead and win trophies at other clubs. You could take Robin van Persie as an example of this. He left Arsenal because they were in a drought of not winning trophies, then went to Manchester United, won the title last year, but that's enough of him. I'm sure Arsenal fans hate him enough already. So we'll move on to the next player in this team. It is Kolo Touré, and in FIFA 07 he had similar stats to these, so I just went with them stats, I guess. And what a card that would have been. He was there in the Invincible seasons, played centre back throughout the whole thing pretty much, an absolute tank. Obviously didn't lose a game, so yeah, he's currently playing for Liverpool at the moment. Gotta love the chant, obviously, the Kolo Touré chant. They do the same one for Yaya Touré too, so yeah, he was in this team, which is awesome. But another player in this team was Ashley Cole, a player Arsenal again, while actually Arsenal fans now hate because he left Arsenal to go to Chelsea, which is just crazy. They're obviously rivals and they hate him from now on, I guess. They call him Cashley Cole because he apparently left for the money, but he's a bit of a tosser in real life if you read newspapers and whatnot. But he's a great footballer, there's no doubt about it. He was in this team for Arsenal back when he was younger. But we'll move on to the midfield now, and in right midfield we do have Freddie Lundberg, who of course has a legend card in this FIFA, and his stats they would have been his stats in his prime pretty much. I think EA got this one spot on, to be honest. He wasn't exactly the fastest, but 85 pace is great for him, and he scored quite a lot of goals for Arsenal, some vital goals as well, had some crazy haircuts back in the day. But yeah, he was in this Invincibles team, as well as this Brazilian legend, this World Cup winner, Gilberto Silva, and in FIFA 07 he was 82 rated, so I would have put him at 84 rated back in 2004, but actually he may have deserved a higher rating because he was an absolute god back in this team for Arsenal. But yeah, that's Gilberto Silva. Obviously he's won the World Cup. Them stats are pretty amazing. He had great passing, great at defending, just sitting back in front of the defenders and just doing an awesome job for Arsenal. But now the captain of this whole Invincibles team is Patrick Vieira, one of the best midfielders in the Premier League in my opinion ever, pretty much. I mean, he's won the World Cup, he's won so many trophies with Arsenal, and just an absolute legend. He's got a legend card in this FIFA with these exact stats. I wish I could get him to use him. I mean, he's 1.4 million at the moment, probably more, but you know, that's quite a lot to pay for a central midfielder. You could probably play him up front actually. I know his shooting is not the best, but you can just cross the ball to him and I'll bet he'll head it in, because he is quite tall at 6'3" I believe, or even 6'4", I'm not quite sure, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But he captained this Invincibles team in 2004, and yeah, he's just an absolute legend. If I can try and get hold of his legend card one day, I'll try and do that. And another player with a legend card is Robert Perez. Now his legend card is actually a right midfielder in FIFA 14, which is just insane, because I'm pretty sure he played his whole career, well 90% of his career at Arsenal at left midfield, and I've even had a word with a few of the community managers at EA to try and get his position changed, because he was definitely a left mid, there's no doubt about it. Any Arsenal fans can back me up on this. I mean, he might have played right mid for France a few times, I doubt he did either, so you know, it's a bit crazy how his legend card is a right mid in this FIFA currently. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, he was a fantastic player. He was the original take a bow moment commentary from Andy Gray, and that goal he scored, I'll leave a link in the description down below. I believe it was against Aston Villa, where he was running, he took the ball over a player and then chipped the goalkeeper. It was just a fantastic goal. This guy scored 14 goals in the league, I believe, that season for Arsenal in the unbeaten run, so you know, that is pretty decent for a midfielder, and he was just fantastic at setting up goals, scoring goals, and he was a very, very skillful player, had a lot of flair. And yeah, Perez is just an absolute legend. I'm going to try and get his legend card as well, because it looks absolutely insane. Imagine having him and Vieira in the same team, it would just be awesome. But the striker of this team now, well, he was the centre forward, it is Dennis Bergkamp, but I've put him in 4-4-2 in this formation, so I've put him as a striker. But yeah, Dennis Bergkamp, what an absolute god this player was. He was so skillful, was great at scoring goals for Arsenal, great at setting them up, so his passing stat on his legend card is pretty ridiculous in my opinion. Should be more passing on that card, definitely. But yeah, Dennis Bergkamp is the definition of skillful. That goal against Newcastle, again, I'll leave a link in the description down below, was absolutely ridiculous. Obviously that skill move is just so hard to pull off, and the way he just made it look so easy was just insane. He stayed at Arsenal for around 11 years and definitely deserves that legend status, no doubt about it. And the same goes to this guy here. It is Thierry Henry, of course. He was in my previous video when I did the squad on Barcelona, so if you want to check that out, make sure you do. But Thierry Henry, he was 91 rated in FIFA 07, so back then he was one of the highest rated players in FIFA. I'm not quite sure what his rating would have been in 2004. Wish I could check again, but websites don't go that far back. But what an absolute legend. There's not much more I could say about Thierry Henry. I mean, no one can really hate him unless you're Irish, of course. That is probably the main reason you can use for hating this guy. But he scored so many goals for Arsenal. He's an absolute legend. Their all-time top goal scorer. There's not much more I can say about him, to be honest. I know everyone knows who he is. If you don't, you're just a bit of an idiot, to be honest. But yeah, in that season he did score 30 goals and was just phenomenal. The Arsenal team, the whole team was just ridiculous. So that is the team, guys, right there on the screen. I hope you enjoyed it, and remember to leave suggestions on other teams for me to cover in future videos. Who do you want to see Manchester United next? Do you want to see Liverpool? Do you want to see someone like AC Milan? Please do let me know down in the comment section below, and I will see you soon with another video, guys. Take care.